Terrorblade as a Tiny, so Jug doesn't kite him as bad, but it still seems decent. Oh yeah. It's...
10 seconds remaining.
It seems still very viable. Like it's a similar idea to the Terrorblade, just with a bit less range. And perhaps you hit like a bit of an earlier time. You don't have that downtime of like the Metamorphosis. Like you can still push when Eclipse is on cooldown if your opponents have also have their spells on cooldown. And yeah, you're right. It will be the Luna.
With you on that. I think you're spot on the money of a pushing carry here. And the only other one would have been Sven, but Clockwork, I think, counters that. Like, there's just too many issues for a Sven carry against a Clockwork Luna.
Yeah, so we'll see how fast Tiny can come online, because he's the hero that's going to have to try and bully the Luna a bit. If you can get a fast Blink Dagger in the first, like, 12 to 15 minutes of the game, head to wherever Luna's trying to farm and just get a few kills on her. That's going to be key. The one thing with Alliance, I just don't feel like they have that good roaming hero to set up for the IO Tiny relocate this game. And I guess in theory that's meant to be the Clockwork, but it just doesn't work as well as like a Nyx Assassin does when he's Vendettaing around, or even like the Batrider option where you can just use the tree line, smoke up, find a lasso pick. It's a bit less reliable with the hook shot.
Yeah, look at this, and I feel like Alliance win big early, and I don't think they're supposed to against this Viper and Enigma. Like, this is the kind of game where Clockwork's already going to have a hard enough time because he's facing up against a Viper, and I think two controlling supports that are pretty deep versus him as well. That he really needs that real good start that turns into like Blade Mill or something where he can threaten the Luna's life. Otherwise, he's just going to become a one-and-done initiation. He's going to become that Clockwork that hook shots and cogs, and that's it. That's all you're going to see.
Here you go, Alliance. Alliance perhaps the scariest level 1 team. They always have some shenanigans going on.
I think Cloud9, whenever they've been on Dire side, they do the exact same thing. They try and get into this area. Nice toss cogs combination, but Ace is going to be able to get away from those cogs pretty quickly. It was a good setup, but now Loda's going to be caught on the back lines here as Noya managed to get a good roll in. They're trying to finish him off. Toss forward. Noya's trying lower, but they do manage to get the first blood with Rise, picking up the kill on Loda, and Yonosafon may die as well. He pops a Fairy Fire, will manage to get out, as to Joe, dealing with these two supports. Going to roll onto EGM, nails him, and Alliance had shenanigans up their sleeves, yes, but are immediately shut down by Cloud9 with their positioning. They were well prepared for what Alliance was about.
Noya's got another roll, but can't really roll onto the tether escape of the IO. They were well prepared indeed. I mean, I still stand by what I said with Alliance being perhaps the scariest level 1 team to be missing, but teams are ready. Like, if you're ready for them, and they had 5 heroes protecting the top bounty room, like, that's like a... Very rarely will you see 5 heroes right around that area, but they know Alliance very well. They're ready for them, and they take them down.
Yeah, I mean, Alliance was always like the scariest like Roshan team. You know, like you always had to be prepared against Alliance in that level 1 category, because you were never sure. Are they smoking and hunting at us as 5? Are they taking Roche level 1? Are they doing all the, there's 20 things you have to fear, but Cloud9, knowing Alliance's reputation, seemed to got some preparation as such. Hesta Joe's going to have to deal as an offlaner against EGM and Loda, as he feels a little bit of pressure there, but he does have the backup, it seems, of Noya, who's going to be starting up here rather than trying to bound. Meanwhile, bottom, Yonosafon, as the solo offlaner, has to go up against Rise's Disruptor and a Luna. A lot of damage there, but Yonosafon is looking to make it work. Cogs pushing back the enemy.
Yeah, not the easiest lane. Offlane, the Enigma with the level 1 Midnight Pulse makes his time a bit rough. He doesn't have that range creep deny. When you can deny range creeps, you're taking away a ton of XP from the enemy lane, as well as securing yourself some farm by pulling the wave back. So his lane's a bit tougher because of that, but he's hit level 2 now, so it should be able to fall back, jungle some camps, although both of his camps by this offlane have been blocked off. So that's what Alliance achieved through that early rotation into that jungle there, but see Noya come in and deward some of this.
lot of people theory crafted in the beginning with these bounty runes that bottle was going to be super value on heroes that picked up bottle real quickly, like Wisp, for example. We're going to see a huge benefit out of this and get picked up quite a bit. We haven't fully seen that. It's just been very specific to certain teams that the Wisp has been quite strong. Other teams have been incomplete. What do you think about the Wisp? Where do you think?
I mean, for the longest time, I just thought the hero was like getting heavily underpicked on this new patch, just based on, like you mentioned, the bounty runes and just how much mobility, in theory, should be prioritized even more, with there being more jungle camps, more runes on the map. Like, there's just a greater emphasis on, like, control the map, taking over the enemy jungle, so that's in theory where the relocate becomes even more powerful. But I think from the way that things have developed, it just seems like Io's early game, his laning stage, isn't as strong as it used to be, and that's where teams are perhaps punishing Io drafts, where they just draft stronger lanes. There's a lot more contest in the off lane, a lot more like 2-1-2 setups, and that's where Io doesn't do well against like these aggressive dual lanes in the off lane.
Do you think the bounty runes have helped Wisp more than the 2-minute timer on stacking has hurt Wisp?
No, because I think the thing with the bounty runes is it's helped every 4th position hero. If anything, Io, I mean, he sometimes struggled to his level 6, but I think it's helped other 4th position heroes more, because when Io's missing from the map, you're not scared of a gank. The thing is, when there's like a Pudge or a Slather or something missing, you're worried about when that hero is going to show up. But that hero could just be collecting bounty runes, roaming around, and then when he pops up, it's to get a kill. When Io pops up, it's rarely to get a kill. It's just to, like, you know, pop out and heal up a teammate. That's where I think he needs those stacks to really be justified as like a hero at the moment, which is where he has received pretty big nerfs based on the jungle.
The Hunskin's been doing just that, popping out, healing Limp every once in a while when he needs it. Again, he'd be Knight's Viper. Does seem to be going pretty well, 22-3 now against the 19-3 of the Vipers. So Limp is one step ahead for now.
Yeah, I mean, Noi is kind of filling the similar role where he's that Earth Spirit, but like that's just where like, I feel like Earth Spirit, when he comes out of the fog, can do a lot more. Right now, there's really good dire vision, so they're able to keep pretty good tabs of Noi and know where he is moving on the map. But all in all, it's still a lot more, I think, effective for the most part to run that like 4th position Earth Spirit than the Io. Obviously, Alliance have an idea in mind with the Io Tiny, and they're going to look to capitalize on that.
He's been playing like he doesn't really know that Noi is there, but as an Invis room is picked up, he does start backing himself away. Waiting for his Wisp to return to him, who a short little jaunt into the Radiant jungle, helping out Yonosampan and picking up the enemy bounty, bouncing back. Own on Dire side. Yonosampan is level 4. Facing up against kind of a bit of a dangerous dual lane, but does seem to be getting the necessary. Hestejo is actually a lower level, just now picking up his level 4, but is getting a lot more farm, kind of a given. Spend half your time.
Yeah, he's got his Arcane Boots now, so he can sustain himself a bit better. Will be getting some good farm now that the lane is pushed out to his tower. Jonas is going kind of aggressive here, getting deep into the Radiant jungle. See what he can find. If anything, he's been scattered up by this Radiant Ward, and this could be the end of him. Without a TP scroll, there's not really a good escape.
Holding on to the glimpse, it looks like he's just going to wait for the kinetic field or not use anything at all and just let his teammates beat up Yonosampan. Keeps all of his attacks. So there is the third kill of the game after our treacherous first blood. Lions started off with quite a bad lead. C9 seem to be doing pretty well for themselves in the laning phase. Real glimmer of hope does seem to be Limp's performance in mid, where he's picking up some large numbers from Hanskin. Toss back, nicely played. Baby Knight still able to play around this one, it looks like. Half HP. He's going to receive a blast. Maybe he's actually going to die here with the toss. In combination, he does actually go down. So, very nicely played combo there from Limp and the boys. Lions strike back finally.
Yeah, it feels like the kind of kill they need to get out of this Io Tiny. You don't want Tiny just sitting mid lane getting farm. You want him to get involved early, find some kills, and really start snowballing as early as possible. So anything that can get him towards that Blink Dagger, I imagine, which he's going to be going for, is going to go a long way.
6 now picked up for Oda. We'll see if the Vengeful Spirit's a pretty active carry, I think, for the most part. See if they
Bottom line, they've gone in.
He does have the cogs up, but he should be going down here. I thought maybe in that instant where Cloud9, they've been pressuring this tower so much, maybe they'd rotate this Vengeful Spirit and Coddle down to the bottom lane, try and punish any over-aggression, but doesn't come out from the line quick enough anyway. Let's get on some fun.
Yeah, Loda didn't have a TP, and I think the IO player cancelled his TP. Yeah. That's the problem, like that, you cancel that TP, you know if anyone tries to TP in on that aggression, it's going to be that extended duration TP, so there's not really any good punish available. Clockwork's not level 6, so there's nothing really to be afraid of. They probably even made the call that Loda seeing top doesn't have a TP of his own, so he's just kind of statically farming the lane, which is fine. Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Limp wants to farm as well, but the fault kind of lies in just getting caught underneath that tower, perhaps just caught by surprise by the ward. That should be fairly apparent. There's a ward on that cliff by now, but whether or not they've really got the money to de-ward it or not is kind of another issue.
True. I think I kind of like what the EGM is doing here. I think they're just a little bit slow to do it. I think if they keep back this push a little bit longer, they'll have level 6 on Hanskin, because right now they're going through all those stacks. If they have that relocate, these pushes from Ace, where it's very natural because Luna kind of dominates her lane all the time, and she just naturally wants to be able to get some of the early tower bounty in as well. You can stop that whole entire early power of the Luna. You could just defend against those couple of early pushes, and then all of a sudden the relocate comes in, and if Cloud9 want to invest into that offlane tower, they're going to have to bring more than just 2 supports behind Luna. They're going to have to bring the Viper in as well.
Yeah, this Luna is going to be definitely killable once Tiny gets like a Blink Dagger up, all the IO relocate comes online, so we'll see how they try and approach protecting her. For now, both carries can be going that Helm of the Dominator build, no big surprises there. And I think for C9 it's really going to be around the mech. That's how they're going to try and keep Luna alive from those early ganks and early pressure. And Hesajo's going to have a very good timing on the mech because he has been getting decent farm in this top lane. He's almost equal with Loda in terms of overall net worth, which is a scary thought.
Yeah, I have the chart right now on the CS, but really that can never reflect Enigma's farm.
Yeah.
Going to be playing off of neutral. It's 3k net worth right now, and the tower about to drop here as it's going to head into the 9 range with the help of Helm of Dom creep. They are going to back off based off of the Coddle Blast and Alliance. We'll see if they try and keep this tower up and fight around it somehow, or they just go for the 9. Yeah, EGM's just...
Yeah, baiting around it with a hook shot could have been a decent approach, but looks like they just don't feel quite ready. Loda wants to finish his Helm of the Dominator. Tiny does not have a blink just yet. Tiny had a blink. You definitely look to fight around the hook shot, but I imagine for now it's like, let's finish our blink first. Even an IO level 6 wasn't available, so IO will get that now in the mid lane, and this is where there is some good threat from the Alliance side, so I think ideally for Cloud9, they want to try and be the aggressors because it means you're going to be the ones taking the fight to them and you're not caught out by a relocate. If you're the ones getting a pick to start things off, they've got a smoke on the supports. Even though they're not quite level 6, they ideally want to be the ones kind of not getting caught totally by surprise by Alliance.
Yeah, it's funny how both strategies are very reliant on their level 6s. Disruptor is really not much of a hero to talk about until he has that big AoE controlling aspect of him. Limp is going to be gone on here. Glimpse back. Hanskin's ready to go with the relocate though, and this really should not be much of a problem. It's the full heal, back to base, and C9 are not going to stick around and try and punish locate back. Limp is already TP back in play.
It's the full mech 10 minutes in from Enigma. Even gets the regen rune too, so he's had 0 mana to work with and suddenly he's full mana pull again.
Alright, gods, where do we go with this? We've got an early mech, we've got a Viper who's got pretty good farm.
Lane tower seems like the push with Luna Enigma just need to like push a lane together. I guess in theory you could bring Viper and have the Luna farm alone, but Luna seems like they're more hero prone to getting ganked, so yeah. They're going to leave the two, actually leave Luna Viper at the mid lane while the Enigma heads back to the off lane, which is kind of interesting that the 2 pushing carries are off on their own. I feel like this is something Alliance could try and capitalize on, but
well,
get ganked up below that, yeah.
Maybe it was a bit of a bait there. Maybe expecting the 2 supports to naturally be behind the important cores, that they end up catching Loda. And with a pickoff like that, maybe this actually gives them a free tower without their cores. I don't know. That's a pretty big Enigma army he's got going on.
Yes. That's one of the great things about Enigma, when you can just push towers by yourself if left alone, and this tower's at least going to get down fairly low. But Alliance are ready to make a move.
There's the blink reveal.
The cores. Here we go, yeah.
Limp
Lunar
already
TP's
taking
up
down
now.
Rise.
They can still fight this Cloud9 if they want to re-engage. Bring an ace.
Yeah, no qualms about showing their cores here either. They are to do battle, it seems. 4 versus 5. 10 more seconds until the Disruptor's back up. Limp's going to try and make his jump in with the help of the Coddle Blast, but it's not quite there. Hanskin has the relocate out, so it was kind of a poke, seeing if they could burst down a hero with the help of EGM and his Illuminate Blast, but they didn't quite have the range nor the damage.
Oh, Ire's coming back in, though.
He is going to be able to get the tether out, try to get the kick. They will also glimpse him back, but the time goes a little off on that one. He just goes back to where he relocated to originally. So it looks like this tier 1 tower is going to be going down here. Alliance, they're going to fight around this next Illuminate Blast. Sunfon has the hook, he has the angle, but really it's a hard ass to try and jump into this Viper and Enigma.
Yeah.
So it's like Alliance are...
Perhaps if the Illuminate hits, you follow it up with a hook shot. It is level 4 Illuminate, would have done a lot of damage, and Tiny combo could have at least killed off one with the mech on cooldown, but with it not landing, you have to give it up. And the problem is every tower is a bit more money going Cloud9's way, and they use this early money so effectively just to tank up, get whatever cost-effective stat items they can get, the Dragon Lancers in particular on both Viper and Luna. These two heroes very hard to deal with, and that's where, like, you've got 1300 HP on Agi treads on Luna. Similar story with the Viper. He doesn't even have treads. Like, these are heroes that can't be comboed down by a Tiny. Same for the Enigma. All 3 frontliners do not die to a Tiny combo, so makes it very hard to defend when you can't burst a hero with Tiny.
Cloud9, they've already got a decent gold lead, and they're about to turn into a whole lot more with the mid tower going by Alliance. You're going to try and make a trade-off here, take the safe lane tower away from C9, but if C9 wants to, they can take this mid and rotate or push for more. We'll have to see what the decision is. Yonosapon missing the hook. Noya sidesteps that one, see if he can get the roll away as well. Blinding Light pushes him back. And it's actually going to be C9 on the offensive here. Nice perch creep, slowed down with the stun comboed up. EGM is going to be left for the fishes here. So they're 2 now, 14 minutes in. Cloud9 defend their tower, find a pickoff. And Alliance are going to have to try a whole lot harder when it comes to split pushing to run Cloud9 around, because it seems like they can't contest.
Yeah, Alliance's draft doesn't really push all too fast. I mean, you see Limp in the mid lane, the toss damage is a little bit. Loda with his build pushes alright. He's actually maxed the Vengeance Aura, but doesn't really compare to what the Luna Enigma can do on the other side. Even the Viper, the much greater pushing hero. It does look like they may be able to get this tier 1 mid tower, but it's going to come at the cost of perhaps a tier 2 bottom and a lot of map control being lost if Alliance let this go.
Blasts are going to come in from EGM. They do have the relocate ready to go, so if the other 2 cores of Alliance start rotating down, maybe they could fight, but it looks like the call is that simply these heroes are too strong. Even if Blast not quite getting the range needed there.
Yeah, Tiny's used his combo mid, so he's low on mana. They're not fighting this one.
Good kick in from Noya. That was I think that was a bit of a blind roll. Maybe he had enough vision, or maybe he just guessed it out.
The Satyr scouted out? I think the Satyr got a purge off maybe?
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, before it died to like a tower shot or something, but still nicely played by Cloud9. Get a tower. They lose a tier 1 mid, so Alliance, I think, making the best of that situation, but it still isn't looking...
Did he get the hook afterwards? Oh, he needed the hook afterwards. No, maybe with the stun and the relocate, they can still get Rise, trying to run himself away, blink to the wrong direction from Limp, but it doesn't matter too much. Still in range for the Avalanche. That will be a pickoff, but a small pickoff.
Yeah, it doesn't really change all too much. Gives Tiny a bit of gold to get closer towards his Aghanim Scepter, but this may turn into one of those Alliance split push type of games with the Ag Scepter. Doesn't really feel like a game where Tiny can fight into the Cloud9 lineup. He's not going to have much attack speed to begin with, and even with the IO seeing behind him overcharging, a level 1 overcharge currently, Viper Strike is going to limit any kind of right-click damage from Tiny. It still feels like it's going to be all about the Avatos combo until Tiny gets like an item on top of the Aghanim Scepter.
Other tower drops. Chipped away slowly but surely. They finally do get that safe lane tower. Jonas Sampan also has his Blade Mail, like the choice of the maxed out rockets. A scan does successfully spot out EGM here, but Noya won't be able to get the roll in. Does manage to get the kick, and that'll be enough for Ace to follow up with his nukes. Damage over time. Noya actually gets pushed away, so his drop stone is not enough. The urn? Oh, 7 HP. Barely. EGM a little bit closer to that stone. He gets a refresh on that ultimate and that damage over time, and a little bit lower HP. He would have just died to the urn, but both accounts, he manages to survive.
Yep.
So they see this TP coming in. He's going to be slowed down enough that this TP in from the Earth Spirit, you know, will find another kill for Cloud9.
That's casualty you don't want to see on the Alliance side. Loda's ability to kind of transition to the late game is going to be key for them, and he gets picked off once more, so relocate up top. He's tanky though, but he's got a Vanguard.
Yeah, he really is. It does not look like Alliance have enough damage to be able to bring him down the toss up, but now, if anything, it could be Alliance who are in trouble. They had a glimpse ready to go, but didn't actually try anything. Instead, it's going to be a glimpse back into mid lane, where they're going to be caught by Ace with his Eclipse ready to go. Looks like they managed to pick up one. There's the glimpse back, and they'll be able to get Limp as well. So Cloud9, a very clear and just well-executed strategy by them to be able to counter this Tiny Wisp. The attempts at pushing by Alliance. They have now got their full death ball ready to go, and I'm not sure if Alliance has much to stop them.
It's where I kind of feel like the Tiny is that one-dimensional hero, like got to be able to burst people down and snowball, or you just the hero doesn't do what it used to do, which is like this transition to the late game. You get kited too easily. It just isn't like that scary carry. You've got to get kills using that blink build, and while you draft these tanky cores outside of maybe the Luna, perhaps the slightly squishier of the three, but Ace free farms his lane. He gets the early treads, Dragonlance with a wand, and then he's tanky enough that he can survive through most things. So they've dealt with the Tiny well. We're seeing just 3 kills for the Alliance side at 18 minutes, which is not really what they're hoping for when they draft into this Tiny.
Cards going to be coming in soon.
Yes.
I have to wonder if he gets a pipe after that, how Alliance... Oh, nice toss back there. Good positioning. That'll be an instant blow up onto Noya, but Limp is still going to be caught. They need to relocate out. They will get it. Oh, the glimpse. It was actually almost perfectly timed to be able to still pull Limp back, but instead the relocate perseveres. Now Loda mans up against Baby Knight and Ace. Doesn't really have too many options. Does get a jump in from Limp that combos in, but they don't really bring anybody low enough. Now the Static Storm laid out. Jonas Sampan trying to find his way towards Ace, who's now burnt out of mana. Jonas Sampan, though, is probably going to be caught here. He doesn't really have anywhere to go. Nice blinding light pushback. And Alliance are actually fighting this out pretty respectfully. They've already taken one. Now the jump back in from Jonas Sampan. They get the kinetic field out, though, and that'll prevent a lot of that aggression. Alliance, it looks like they're just a bit too low. Baby Knight's going to be hitting so damn hard with this Nether Toxin. They're chased away once again. They're trying desperately to make this clutch in and out play blink out, but a glimpse right back in, and Limp is the one who's caught. We're trying to play this back and forth game with a disruptor. Got to play it perfectly. They're always going to lose that extra one.
I mean, they did that without having ultis, really. Like, they didn't have the Eclipses on cooldown, and Enigma burned through too much of his mana, got hit by a Cog, so there wasn't any Black Hole. He tried to get the Black Hole on the IO relocate out. If he'd cancel that, it would have been really nice, but even with a fight that doesn't go as well as C9 would have hoped, they still come out on top. They get the Tiny, they get the tower, and strategically, this is like all they were really needed out of that group up at top. It kept Alliance busy, they're not split pushing. Alliance aren't really farming or posing much of a threat to scale into the late game, and that's all the tier 2s already, so now the Shrines are going to start getting focused down as well.
Shrines by 20 minutes.
Yeah. I thought the Enigma would go for the pipe after the mech. I was a little surprised by the Crimson Guard pickup, but this makes the Enigma himself tankier with the Vitality boost to plus 250 HP. I did feel like the pipe against the Keeper would have been, in my mind, like the more logical idea. I'm not sure what Hesujo's thinking going for this, but obviously there's some good reason for it.
Oda, I was talking about Vengeful Spirit the other day, and I said it's the best Aghanim Scepter that never gets built. and I think in some ways correct, right? Core Vengeful Spirit can't really go for an attempt here to kill EGM. Looks like they'll catch him. The Eclipse back will stop that TP. But yeah, it looks like Loda's going to be trying to go for the Aghanim Scepter.
Yeah, it seems like one of those items where you get it on core Venges when you're having a rough game, because it's like, well, I'm going to have to just die for my mid carry to carry the game for me. Like, I've seen the few games I've seen, it seems to be for these core Venges that struggle, and that's kind of where Loda is right now. Though he is still the most farm core in his team, but it does feel like he's going to have to create some space for Limp in these fights.
That'll be a Roshan going the way of Cloud9. Much like most of this game for Alliance, they have the information, they know what's going on, but they can't do anything to stop it. Two Rocket player out. Roshan hit by Cloud9. Take that Aegis on Investor.
Yeah, they get some damage done towards his bottom lane, but Baby Knight's already back defending it. Working on a Manta style, so he's getting nice and tanky now. And that's really all they have to do on these cores, is just get as much survivability as possible. And Loda's actually been scattered by a ward here. He needs to get out as soon as possible. Doesn't look like he realizes there's all these heroes coming his way.
The silenced up. Blast comes through, trying to give him a little bit of extra help here, but now with that damage over time, refreshed up, rises here as well, so even if Loda could get away, still be a glimpse to pull him right back in. 14-4, 22 minutes in. Cloud9 holding almost a 7,500 gold lead. Not too big of an experience lead as would be expected. They 5-man death balling for the most part. Alliance are just kind of pecking at the edges of the screen, split pushing and getting a little bit of experience into the offers.
Yeah, they've done a good job. I mean, the fact they've taken down that tier 2 bottom tower and threatened to like force Cloud9 back to the high ground, it's definitely helped buy them some time and keep them at least in a position where this game isn't entirely lost. Like, all it's going to take is one good high ground defense. If Cloud9 get a bit too over aggressive, like going for it, to get them right back in this game. But again, you're very reliant on Cloud9 getting a bit too ahead of themselves and aggressive. And with an Aegis on Luna, they can slow siege this, and once that tier 3 tower goes down, then the bouncing glaives around the base become an absolute nightmare to deal with.
Cloud9, it's one of those games, you know, where you're like so far ahead, your death ball works so well that you reach this point where you're like, well, we can't actually, we've done all the objectives so early, there's not much left to do but kind of farm and wait for a better opportunity to go high ground. Limp maybe caught here, the relocate is perfectly timed, so Hanskin probably just gave up his life to save Limp.
Is unfortunate, but yep. There's a creep wave, but scary. Yeah, they just don't seem to be farmed enough to break high ground. Like, you look at Luna and you think, like, high ground push, you really want to go at 24 minutes with just like a Manta Dragonlance. You're normally thinking like maybe either the BKB or the Butterfly on top of this. You haven't got like a Shadow Demon to just like spam illusions at the enemy high ground. So I think realistically Cloud9's kind of thinking like, we've pushed down all these other towers, we have good map control, we can keep finding pickoffs as we are. Like, are we really worried about this going late? Can Tiny actually carry this late game against Viper Strike? I don't really feel like it's going to be that easy for Limp to scale against Viper at all this game, so yeah, I imagine Cloud9 feel pretty confident.
I mean, even just the magic damage is going to threaten Limp quite a bit. You've got Eclipse and Viper with this Viper Strike. That by itself is going to be hard enough, and then you're going to have both these cores probably scaling into physical damage pretty well.
And Baby Knight's working on a Manta, close to completing it now. He went back for a boot travel, I think recognizing that Alliance's only way to play this game right now is through split push, so just wants to have that global mobility to help deal with it a little bit better.
Yeah, he's even picking up a Manta, which will probably not fully the intention, but will help out split push lane. Doesn't need to be. But they are going to try and go on Baby Knight here with Loda, Jonas Sampan, and a relocate, I'm sure, as they need every bit of help. they get to be able to kill.
He realizes he sees the Centaur.
Spotted, gets hit by the hook. They're going to be able to bounce him back. They are not actually have the quick reaction. Their limp is finally here. They will get the damage out in the Baby Knight, but he force snaps himself deeper into the trees. Hanskin dropping lower and lower. He needs to be able to stay alive for the relocate out. Now it's Alliance stuck inside the trees with a static storm on top of everything else. And Baby Knight survives. Triple kill for him off of that one, killing all 3 of the heroes that look to claim his life.
I mean, it's one of those things where, like, probably at this point, the most recognized change in the way Dota is played is the shrines, and that's like one of those perfect examples, not just from the healing point of view, but as far as map control goes, as a TP access point. 3 heroes TP to that shrine and are able to get there in time to help Baby Knight out. Without that shrine there, he's 100% dead. There's nothing that can be done to save him. Yeah, he survives a long time with his build and his tankiness, but he's not going to survive everything. But able to get there in time and keep him alive, and suddenly Alliance are in all sorts of trouble.
Nice blink forward there from Noya. Even if he misses the stun, he allows the glimpse to be able to find a kill. Instead, Baby Knight looks to be able to kill Hanskin. Already a buyback into EGM. Cloud9, they weren't really sure about going high ground so early but with 2 pickouts like that, and last remaining seconds of the Aegis, now that it's gone though, a swap back, toss back deeper. Baby Knight may be deep, tanky, but can he actually survive being all the way back in the tier 4 area? He's already gotten back to the tier 3s with the help of his team. They're going to try and focus down Loda, while Ace, he's just focusing on objectives at this point. Loda does get tossed back nicely by Limp to save his life, but it will not save the objectives. Melee Rax is quick to fall here, and Alliance are gonna have to strike again. Fortunately, they're not reliant on any big cooldowns, but they can't actually get into the fight in time. Melee Rax goes down, Cloud9 get themselves out without getting popped.
Yeah. No losses, and it's one of those things where Alliance, it feels like the net worth on Tiny, on Venge, it feels like they're keeping up well enough, but it doesn't really feel like they're getting the kind of items or transitioning to a point where they're ever going to be able to fight into what's coming at them. Like, we talked about the Viper, the Luna's going to have a butterfly soon as well. The Enigma is just this really tanky frontliner who helps keep everyone alive, kind of playing that Dark CRS role where you can win your team a team fight through a big ultimate, but at the same time you're mostly just there for the sustain and having all these team fight items. And as a result, Alliance are kind of running out of options here. And Cloud9 just get scarier and scarier as they pick up more items in this game.
Ace is very close to that. They're flying. Cloud9 can wait on that, as well as second Aegis. Alliance are the ones forced to try and make something happen in this sort of dead zone window where Cloud9 don't feel comfortable pushing high ground without an extra life and without some of these big ticket items. But you also see the inevitable end of the game that's going to be happening if Alliance only sit back, split push during this time.
Yeah, and they're not even split pushing right now. Like, you're not even getting any farm right now. You've got no heroes farming any lane. The only lane you're farming is mid lane with a keeper. Now Tiny finally pops out bottom lane to clear one wave and then blinks out, but they're getting very little farm. They're not using any of the jungle. They're hardly using the lanes to farm. Meanwhile, Cloud9 are pushing out, farming most of the lanes. They're getting the enemy jungle, they're getting all the bounty runes, they're getting a lot more out of the map and just getting further ahead without even having to find a kill.
No, I thought the way that they lacked vision on the side of Alliance, I thought maybe a gem had already been picked up on Cloud9. See, the map completely dark, but they just haven't had the opportunity to be able to push out.
Top lane.
Down. Yonosapon's going to be able to find one onto Rise or not.
Rise finds him.
Baby Knight, so
yeah.
I thought maybe, you know, like, oh, Rise runs into that hero, has to trade his life for an offlaner, but not even that much happens. He still gets away. And Cloud9, that range tracks, or maybe a little bit more. They're going to go for the tier 3 push to top.
Stuart's just like, oh, I can get this by myself. But yeah, once this tier 3 tops down, this base is going to crumble, and there's no split push threat at bottom lane. The creep wave is just too far away.
Now the bouncing blades have begun to peck away, and not just the range melee racks, but also some of the backline heroes as well. Force that forward. Baby Knight gets out of position there on the swap, attempted by Loda. He's going to be forced to turn and fight, though, as the kinetic field blocks his retreat. Echoes away. Baby Knight, oh, nice black hole. As Joe finally comes in with a big one, and the relocate out. Not going to be quick enough there from Hanskin, so the GG. Alliance, they saw the end of this game. For one last hurrah, but I think a lot of this we can say, Gods, think it comes down to draft?
Yeah, I think a lot of it comes down to draft. I mean, Alliance had a